moving on to Nigerian markets, investors at the local bourse are trading cautiously ahead of the rates decision by the Monetary Policy Committee tomorrow, although some market analysts do not expect that to overshadow the earnings on tap for release this week, as they forecast investors will push counters on banks and consumer stocks. Now, to get an update on the markets, I'm now being joined from the trading floor by Aigboje Higo, Managing Director at Capital Transcorp. Thank you so much, Higo, for joining us.
Good afternoon.
Looks like we're having another lackluster trading session for today, just ahead of the closing bell, about 2.5 hours away or so. The Osha index in negative territory, down by about 0.5%. Now, is this, like I said, cautious trading? Are investors just waiting for those numbers to roll out before putting money on the table?
Yes, that's what's happening. We're having lackluster trading. It's Monday. So investors are just waiting to see, waiting for those figures to come out, waiting for the results of some companies to come out, MPC, decision and so on. Yeah, so we should see things pick up later in the week.
Now, which will have more of an impact on the market, the earnings numbers or the MPC? The MPC, obviously, a major event for markets, but sometimes we do not see so much of an impact on the numbers, or at least at the equities market, when a decision is taken. Do you expect that to go differently this time?
Yes. For example, if the MPC decision was for it to come down a bit, then I will expect some reaction in the stock market. But yes, you're right. The earnings tend to have a larger impact on the market, a greater impact on the market.
So what stocks are investors hoping to get some numbers from today? Obviously, banks top on the radar for investors. Are we looking at GT Bank? What other stocks are we looking for?
Well, yeah, as usual, financial services are right there in the forefront. GT Bank, FBNH, Stanbic, Access, Fidelity. People are looking forward to those. Then people are also looking for the results of Cadbury. They would like to see Nestle too, and Unilever we got last week. So a mix, and depending on what we see, that would drive the market.
But are you certain that we would have at least one or two earnings, particularly from the banks, before the closing bell today to give the market a boost before the closing bell?
Yes. In fact, I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't seen any more, because we saw Sterling last week. But yeah, we still have a few more minutes, so we should see one or two. If not, then I'm sure we'll see a few tomorrow.
Okay, let's move away from the numbers. There's a major market event tomorrow. GSK GlaxoSmithKline, they will be having a meeting tomorrow with shareholders. Of course, as a follow-up to plans by GSK to indirectly increase its stake of its Nigerian arm to about 75%. We understand that there's one or two controversies surrounding this agreement. Local shareholders here in Nigeria do not believe that GSK Nigeria has gotten them a good deal. Now we're seeing that the modalities of that agreement will be suspended at tomorrow's meeting. Your thoughts on that?
Well, look, first of all, there is nothing wrong with what GSK is trying to do. They have to get their shareholders to agree to it. I think the issues are surrounding, one, whether or not the majority shareholders should have a vote at the court-ordered meeting, and two, the price at which the transaction will be done. I understand from what I've read today and what I've heard that, number one, SEC has barred the majority shareholders, the foreign shareholders, from voting at the meeting, and I understand that there is a revision of the price upward from 48 to 60. So it's left for the minority shareholders and the other shareholders to agree. And once they agree, then it will be done. So it's happened in the market, in other companies have done it. So it's nothing new, the way I look at it.
Okay, so
but I think what is happening now is that you are having shareholders being a lot more aware of their rights, and they're exercising those rights. Because I understand that the pushback was also from foreign shareholders too, foreign portfolio investors. So that's good for the market. So I think it's good for the market, and I'm sure SEC will ensure that the minority shareholders are sorted out.
Okay, are you hopeful of that both parties can reach a win-win situation, and what's your outlook for this stock going forward?
No. First of all, I'm sure that even if it's not done tomorrow, in the foreseeable future, a deal will be done. That's one. Then two, I think the fact that they want to go to 75% and invest more and turn Nigeria into a research hub. As one of the, one of the major markets in the world, I think the stock has good potential. Yeah.
Now, obviously, banks will be on focus this week. What about consumer stocks? Do you think investors will be pushing the counters on consumer stocks this week? We've seen at some point we see mixed numbers. At the other point, we see investors really putting money on the table for consumer stocks.
Well, I think they will have to see the numbers first because, like you said, they've seen some figures that they're perhaps not too happy with. Unilever came out last week, some people were not happy with it, but the stock is doing well, in today's trading. So they will need to see the figures first, and if the figures look good, then you'll perhaps see them put some money into those counters. Yeah.
Now let's shift our focus to petroleum marketing stocks. Forte Oil, Owando, local players here at the markets. Now last week and even the previous week, Forte Oil was one of the best, but was the best performing stock. Last week we saw Forte Oil also one of the best performing stocks, and now it's also on the gainers list so far. Is there a particular reason why sentiment seems to be changing for the better for this particular stock, given the fact that there's still so much uncertainty in that sector? Of course, the PIB is still hanging, investors are still uncertain about what direction the regulators would take in terms of moving that sector forward.
Well, yes, to be honest with you, I'm a little bit surprised, with the activity I'm seeing, but the only reason I can think of is perhaps the price. Maybe investors are looking at the price and they believe that, it represents good value for money. And you've seen Ford Oil, you've seen improvements in their performance over time, but like I said, still major uncertainties surrounding their operations. Only last week, there was talk about, those two companies not getting paid their subsidy payments and so on. But we understand that they've been paid somewhat. So maybe that has helped to drive the price. But I think, for me, if you ask me, I say maybe people are just looking at the price and saying, this represents a good deal.